Hold on. What's up, ScoonTv family? Mumin, assalamu alaikum. Man, we've been having a hectic day with the site and the app and everything. I thought I might not be able to make it tonight, but we almost done. How does the audio sound? I need a mic check. Good. What she say? Pretty soon you're gonna pay. What's up, ScoonTv family? How we doing? Oh man, it's been a hectic week. This technical stuff, and you know, I'm not technical, so I have to rely on others. But we working it out though. We almost there. 80% done. Transferring a lot of the content while the site was live was taking a long time. So periodically we got to go offline to get it all over. But it has a really good look to it. And I was told we 80% there. So man, we almost there. Let me shout out everybody. News, what's up? Glasgow, William. You thought I was starting the show with R. Kelly. Man, you funny. Cojones, what's up? Hey, Donita, Dave, my brother, what's up with you, man? Peter, good to see you, brother. Man, we got some things to talk about, Peter. Oh, boy, Cornelius, what's up, brother? Where we at? Kev, you back, Kev? Yeah, Donnie lighting up the Democrats' politics. Yeah, I see him over there in Chicago. Brandon Johnson looking kind of bad on MSNBC. How you look bad in a friendly venue is I don't know, you know. But man, where can we start? Let's talk about DC. So I saw Janine Pirro, is that her name? Pirro or Pyro? The little lady, she kind of reminds me of Danny DeVito a little bit. You know, she had 18 guns on display that they got a crew out of Anacostia. That, by the way, Anacostia is where my office is. That part of Southeast down there, not far from the river. And They made like 700 arrests, 111 guns off the streets, murderers. I don't know if the National Guard, ICE, I don't know who's doing it, but it's getting done. And there's a lot of people who seem to be happy about it. At least they're on social media. I don't know if they're getting paid to say that. Me personally, other than when I'm in Rock Creek Park, I don't see a whole lot of, the things people complain about. And in Rock Creek, I don't even see a lot there. What I see is ICE, Homeland Security, and all the various law enforcement agencies, FBI. I see them, getting ready to start their day. I checked them out. What day was it? Monday? Yesterday. Yeah, I checked them out yesterday. And they're out there early in the morning. They got a lot of SUVs with dark tints and Massachusetts plates. I hope nobody's mad at me for blowing their cover. They didn't have their mask on when I saw them. I walk right past them all the time. Right there by the Joyce Road Park Police Station. That's where they convene and depart. And I walk past them quite often. And they don't say anything to anybody. I think they know who they're going after. I don't think they're just randomly pulling up on people. I think that technology, Palantir, I hear, is in DC already. And Trump wants to make DC something called a freedom city or something like that. Anyway, it ties together information from the motor vehicle and the IRS. So they know who's not a citizen, and they know how to check on their status to see if they're legal or not. There was a clip of a Latino who was pulled over by the National Mall, and he tried to run. I don't understand why these people drive without driver's licenses, Yeah, you're not in the country legally. The last thing you want to do is roll the dice, but I guess they're in survival mode. But he tried to run and they tackled him, and man, he was bawling like a baby. I felt bad for him, the way he was bawling, but then they said last year he got arrested for sexually assaulting somebody under 13. And then my sympathy kind of dissipated. I mean, he wasn't convicted. I don't know what happened with the case, but he was on the street. And I don't know. Sometimes, man, you just got to figure out or see things that maybe what happens is for the best, Not all the times, but most of the damn time. Oh, what we got here? Michael Wolff. Michael Wolff, I think he's trying to get attention, bro. Because he's seen everything. He's the one that said Epstein went to meet with Putin and all. He got a whole lot to say. I think he's just trying to sell books and be relevant. He's like Michael Cohen. That doesn't mean that everything he says is not true. But I just see him as someone who has ulterior motives. And one of the most disheartening things about everything that's going on right now is how for sale all of these people who are supposed to be sophisticated and refined are. There's talk about Bolton having $90 million, and that the documents they're looking for, it was not necessarily the actual documents, but he's known to have walked around with a yellow legal pad, taking notes in the skiff which is the secure room. And even if he write it down and take it home, it's classified as classified documents. And where does a guy like him get that kind of money if he got it? You know, they say Trump is selling everything out. It seems like everybody in some position, that's the real payday. They don't do it for their salary. Their salaries are like maybe 180,000, 200,000, somewhere around there. So what are they doing all this for? Surely it's not the salary. I think Trump is upfront about it. That's why he didn't take his salary, which was, 400,000? He said, no, I don't need that. Nobody runs for those offices, those positions. Nobody does it for the salary. Let's get that straight. Because if the salary was all they cared about, they could do it with a lot less scrutiny and way more peace in their life. And as far as the crime in DC, so I'm on Martin Luther King, and there's this block that I drive past every day on my way to the freeway, and I saw a cadet office, because I had noticed a lot of the light blue shirts, and this is the drug block, man. This block, like, people had gotten killed on this block, right? It's not far from my office. It's walking distance, and I saw all these light blue shirts for the DC police, but none of them had weapons on. And they were hanging around, and I said, oh, wow. They put a cadet station right there on the drug block. I was like, oh, wow. I still saw some of the regulars, because, you know, I've been there for 15 years. By now, I know them, they know me. Not to talk or anything, but they know who I am. They know I'm not the police, you know what I mean? They know I'm not coming to buy drugs. But we've seen each other for the past 15 years. Same players, they disappear for 2-3 years, pop back up. They've been in prison, you know, and they come through. But they put the cadet station right on the block. I think, oh, the other thing I noticed, homeless. I'm not seeing the encampments. Because when I would ride on the Rock Creek Parkway or whatever it's called, right down there by Georgetown, off in the brush, they would have their tent cities all gone. I don't know where they went, but they're no longer there. They cleaned them up, man. I hope nobody's mad at me for saying this, but I don't have a problem with any of it. None of it. It's not like I'm like, yeah, go get them. But until they start bothering people who aren't doing anything wrong, man, listen, I'm just going about my business, doing my thing, you know? Gavin trying to troll his way into another governor race, eventually into, I think Gavin is going to be the Democrats' candidate in 2028. At least, unless some things change between now and then. There's still plenty of time. We got 3 years. So, but right now he looks like he's lining up to be that guy. But if you're a foreign country, our nation must look crazy bringing the military into the cities. Again, I think that the military going into the cities, it's cover for something else. I don't think it's about crime. Because the National Guard aren't really fighting crime, right? They got federal officers that's fighting crime. The National Guard, to my knowledge, they're not pulling people over or anything. I do know there's certain checkpoints that's close to like around the White House area like that. I think it's a security measure because this man is going to do something that more than likely is going to cause civil unrest or maybe terroristic threats. One or the other. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to read the tea leaves as best as I can here. You got to look at what's going on with Venezuela right now. We got a submarine, destroyers, an amphibious squadron, all down there in Venezuela. Maduro, allegedly, purportedly, mobilized 4.5 million militiamen, dispatched 15,000 soldiers to the Colombian border. Now, do I believe Maduro gave 4.5 million Venezuelans weapons? No. There's a lot of theatrics going on. Why don't I believe it? Because they may use it against him. Why would he arm his people? It seems like he's imposing his will upon them. And to arm them is to give them the means of resistance. And no, I'm not sitting here talking about him like he's a dictator, although he seems to fit the description, but it's none of my business. I don't care. It's like everything else, right? That's Venezuelan issues. But I don't believe he gave those people guns. I do believe he has a core group of people that he makes sure are fed, and that's why they're loyal to him. They have the weapons. They intimidate the masses. And they're the ones that's either going to fight for him or turn him over for that $50 million reward. Because that is the largest reward in American history. Prior to that, it was $25 million for bin Laden and Saddam Hussein. And Maduro has a $50 million bounty on his head. So there it is. Sergei Lavrov saying Putin won't sign the deal. News, that might be a tactic because they've done all this talking thus far with Zelensky not being really elected. He suspended elections during a time of war. He's scared to have elections because they'll vote him out. The Ukrainian people, they don't want him. And they have reason not to want him. The reason is so many of them have died, the men. I believe they have fatigue from that war. There's a lot of deaths on both sides. And Zelensky knows that if he leaves office, he is no longer valuable. He's no longer protected. He knows too many secrets. And he's pretty much a goner. You know, he has a house in Israel, has a house in Florida, and a house wherever else. Because of those billions, surely at least $500 million is in his pocket somewhere, if not more. Because when these guys steal, they really steal, okay? Because the way they have to live the rest of their life, shit, it might cost them $10 million a month. So they need a lot of money. I believe that there won't be a peace deal with Ukraine and Russia. I think the war is going to escalate between Europe and Russia. The Europeans say they have 800,000, NATO says it has 800,000 men to send to fight the Russians. Are they posturing? Possibly. But we're going to find out. One thing for sure is the Russians aren't posturing. They're taking land and they're not giving it back. So what's going to happen is either Zelensky has to concede that he lost territory and abandon his quest to join NATO, or They're going to have to fight to the end, and Putin is going to have to die. So it depends on what you think is going to happen, and that will determine the outcome. There's a part of the more blue-collar wing of MAGA like Bannon. They're breaking with him on the Jews. Yeah, there's a lot of people that's kind of going against the Jews. I'm wondering if it's an organic thing or if it's concerted, because there's the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur and his the girl, I forgot her name. She's talking about how the Israelis are targeting her and threatening her. Every day they're talking about anti-Israeli rhetoric. Of course, there's the element of MAGA that is against the Jews, for sure, absolutely. And then there's Candace Owens. There's just a lot of, I'm just seeing a lot of it, right? And again, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not here to be a referee and mediate for Israel or the Jews. That's their battle. And I'm talking about the people that's criticizing Israel. They must know why they're doing it. But one thing I don't believe is that all of the criticism, not just of the Jews, of all of the criticism in the public space, I don't believe it's all authentic and genuine. I think there's a lot of controlled opposition out here. So you don't really know who's really standing on what. And if I seem indifferent, it's because of that. It's because I don't even trust the intentions or the authenticity of the words that are being spoken by a lot of these people to even get upset about it. Oh, you worked in a skiff just so? Wow, in the Navy. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying about the notes that he took, So he's in violation. They said even the information in your head is classified. And that's why the non-disclosure is for a lifetime. I was fascinated to learn that. One thing about doing this live stream and doing the vlogs, I'm constantly in school. I hope y'all don't think I just know all of this shit. I'm constantly researching and studying, and I retain it pretty good, but man, it's a lot that I learn. It's for the power and proximity to correct news. It's not to help the constituents. Did you know John Conyers was in Congress for 53 years? When he was representing the 13th district of Michigan? Yeah. And do you know that the last possibly 5 years of his tenure that he was senile, maybe longer, and everyone knew it? He didn't know where he was. They kept him in office. This is how dirty politics is. So John Conyers was old. John Conyers was senile. John Conyers was in Congress. His peers had to know that he was senile. But they left him there because he could get elected every term and hold a seat until they had somebody they wanted to put in that seat. Who is they? Is it the DNC? Is it the deep state? Because the person they replaced John Conyers with is Rashida Tlaib. Correct. What's up, Aziz? How you doing, brother? Yeah, they replaced John Conyers with Rashida Tlaib. And what has Rashida Tlaib done? She advocates for Gaza. She's a Palestinian. A lot of these people, man, they're not who you think they are. So she's masquerading as a politician, a representative of the 13th district. And there weren't even that many Arabs in the 13th district. The Arabs are in the 12th district, and that's in Dearborn. And she immediately, once she got elected, she ran for the 12th district, and now she's representing the 12th district. She used the 13th as her way in. And even though this is not a precise parallel, it's the way J.D. Vance used Trump to get in. Well, Trump was used to put J.D. Vance in position. I don't think if J.D. Vance ever ran on his own, he would have gotten elected. But he's going to end up being the president, even if just to finish Trump's term. Because they're ramping up all the talk about Trump and his sickness. The bruise on his hand, the cankles, all of that. And, you know, again, not to be excessively conspiratorial, who knows if any of it is real, man? It could all just be staged. And that's why I don't invest in it too much. I try to figure out what's going to happen as far as economically and politically. How is it going to affect me? And I just try to position myself to, if not benefit, to not be affected too much by what's happening. Where are the homeless? That's a good question, Glasgow. I don't know. They might have sent. I would guess that they sent them way out in the suburbs. There's a part of Maryland that, like, Waldorf area. I think it's Charles County out there. They may have sent them there because it's kind of country, you know. Yeah, it's kind of country. It's not as developed or very influenced by the city itself. Like PG County, Montgomery County, those are right there next to DC in Maryland. Montgomery County, by the way, is where John Bolton lives. That's where they raided his house in Bethesda, which is a town right on the border with DC. Jasmine Crockett, Gavin Newsom. You think so, Darnita? I don't think Crockett's going to be on that ticket. But then again, black women would, you know what? They're going to put a black woman on that ticket to get the black woman vote, because black women feel like they were short. Well, black liberal women feel like they were, you know, deprived with Kamala. So I could see that. I didn't even think of that, Darnita. I got to wrap my head around that, you know. You might be on to something. I just don't know if it's going to be Jasmine Crockett. But it might be, though. It might be. I don't think, you know, no shots. I don't think she's smart enough to debate and win and make that. They're going to have to get somebody that's a little bit more, well, less theatrical and more cerebral. I'm sure they have them, but, you know, that's what it has to be. I won't stop following any conspiracy theories until the military is deployed in Chicago and New York City. I don't think it's going to be New York. Not right now, and not until after the election. Because I don't think Trump wants to undermine Eric Adams. If they put the troops in New York, that's going to bury Adams. Because he's going to be collateral damage. Not that he asked for it, but he is the mayor, and they look at him like he's the president's boy. So I think if Trump put troops in New York, he's going to wait until after the election. Chicago, he might put it right now. And it's not even to embarrass the black mayor, Brandon Johnson. He and Pritzker, the governor don't see eye to eye on anything, you know? Yeah. And he's going to do it to irritate them, or at least attempt to do it. I don't know if he can do it. There's some discussion about the constitutionality of it. We'll see. The World Cup prep Glasgow, I don't know. I didn't know anything about the World Cup. I really think the National Guard in cities has to do with something that the Trump White House is anticipating that hasn't manifested yet, but it's coming. And it could be a result of arrests. They arrested Bolton. Michael Cohen says Comey is next. The key is, how far will they go? It looks like the retribution list, as they all talked about, that is real. Adam Schiff is being investigated for mortgage fraud. And that's interesting. The black woman who was on the Federal Reserve Board or something, is her name Lisa Cook? But she got fired. She said she's not leaving. And it's over mortgage fraud. And by the way, Letitia James, it's mortgage fraud. So this is what I think, right? I think that a lot of people, I'm not going to say most, I think a lot of people lie on their mortgage applications. I think they're encouraged to lie, right? But it is a crime to lie. But people want the houses so bad, they come up with the money, they make the payments, no blood, no foul, right? And this has been going on for a long time. I believe even President Trump has lied on loan applications. I think it's a very common occurrence. It's like one of those crimes that nobody really makes a big deal about. But because everyone knows how common it is, when they were looking for dirt on you, you could be squeaky clean, but if you own properties, they're going to review those loan applications. And if you lied about anything, here they come. And that's what I think is happening, right? If mortgage fraud is the only crime these people committed, I don't think they're that bad, I mean, the law is the law, but show me that they took bribes or something, or they sold influence or access, show me that. I know a former councilman in D.C. named Kwame Brown. And when they wanted to get him out of office in D.C., they went after the same thing with him. And according to Kwame, what he told me was, not only was it owed, but he had paid back the loan. It wasn't even outstanding, and they still made him step down and leave office. So when you playing these games, you can't have anything in your background, and a lot of them do, but they don't be a problem. This is why they're so compliant and they go along to get along, because they don't want anybody digging in their backyard like that, because they all got something. They weren't always famous and successful or what have you. And there were times that they did certain things. They didn't take anything from anybody. Kwame told me he had paid back the loan when they penalized him for it. Just the fact that he lied on the loan application. Duggan endorsed Sheffield. Oh, no news. He doesn't even like Sheffield. That's terrible. I wonder if she's being set up to fail. The Manchurian candidate in real life. What do you think is happening with mayoral race in New York City? I can't believe the media reports. I'm in the Bronx and I haven't run into anyone voting for him except my sister, and she's angry, entitled with a humanities degree. Look, so I was going to write another piece going at Mamdani, right, Justo? And I held off on it because Cuomo was doing a great job destroying Mamdani. I'm thinking I may need to hold off and write a piece about Cuomo because he seems to be doing the work. I don't know what Adams is doing. I don't know if he's sleepwalking through the campaign or if he's allowing Cuomo to destroy Mamdani, and then he's saving all his firepower for Cuomo in the 11th hour. I don't know. But I hear more about Cuomo and Mamdani than I do about Eric Adams. So I'm wondering what's going on. Yup, frailties in senators or House members is old news in D.C. Ronald Reagan, Trump, yup, who overstayed their mental capacity. Joe Biden, Peter. I mean, he was in the presidency and he overstayed his mental capacity. No, I don't think Mamdani gonna get it. Oh, I understood, Justo, when you said she had a degree in humanities, I already knew who she was voting for sure. What force of black women who want Trump? That's something Trump said, you know, the black women wanted Trump to bring the troops into Chicago and what have you, you know. What's up, John C. Baldwin? Oh yeah, I was listening to Trump speak. It came out of his mouth. It was a little stammering in there. I didn't include all of that, but that's what he said. He said some really funny things to me, man. I was just laughing. Look, man, he's the greatest salesperson because he says everything with such conviction. He wouldn't tell a lie like that, would he? You know, like, and that's the thing about him. He's convincing. All black women have been played. They're either getting fired or losing elections. Well, yeah, Lisa Cook, that's the name, yep. I don't know if they're all getting fired, right? I don't have any proof, but one of my thoughts is that women in general are losing government jobs. And I think, per usual, the left is going to make it a racial thing, so they're going to focus on the black women who are losing jobs. I'm not saying black women aren't losing jobs, but I want to bet that a lot of white women are losing their jobs too. But in order to get the support, to galvanize the support, it's going to be presented as a black issue. Because that's kind of like the bait and switch, the political sleight of hand is used to garner black support for any and everything. You got to find a way to make everything racial, because it's like a dog whistle, and the black constituency, they're like Pavlov's dogs, right? When they hear that whistle, they just automatically, their response is automatic. They made COVID racial. Had black people fighting to get vaccinated because, you know, COVID was out to get black people. Black people were dying at a higher rate. We need vaccinations. So anytime they want to control and manipulate us, they introduce a racial component. That the 300,000 black women who lost their job, if that number is accurate, there's probably about 600,000 white women who lost their jobs too. But you'll never hear that because nobody's going to feel sorry for them. Because the perception is all white people have money. And if they're married, well, your husband got a good job, you'll be all right. But if you talk about black women, the black queens, yes, they're the head of the household. They're raising their kids by themselves. It evokes more sympathy. They're gonna put a black face on everything to underline the seriousness of the matter. Yeah, but again, like I said, I don't have any kind of evidence of this. It's just how it typically goes. If the troops need to go anywhere, it's Memphis. Yeah, but Memphis isn't like critical Glasgow. He wants to put troops where? Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, D.C. He was on TV today saying that D.C. is the safest city in the world. Man, his superlatives, Jesus. Donnie getting revenge, Michael Corleone style. Well, if he is on his way out, look for him to do some things that's going to kind of change the game. He's going to try to get rid of his enemies. So his kids and everybody else are going to be okay. Because if anything, I think he's going to make sure that people can't punish his children for what he did. So that means they're going to have to be in a position where they're harmless, whatever that takes. No, John Bolton wasn't arrested. His house and office were raided, Peter. Yep. He wasn't arrested, but they're saying the indictment is likely. They say that Ratcliffe, the CIA head, gave Kash Patel, the FBI director, intel incriminating Bolton, and it was taken to a judge in Montgomery County in Maryland who signed off on the warrant. And Maryland is not a red state. So maybe they found a conservative judge, I don't know. But I want to believe that the evidence is probably pretty solid. At least enough for an indictment. And if anybody know anything about the law in here, an indictment is purely an accusation. It's not a conviction. When you get indicted, you get formally accused of something. It doesn't mean you're going to jail. It means there's a good chance you might. Oh, they got her with the mortgage fraud too? Yeah, it's that mortgage fraud thing. So many people do it. They're young, they want their first house. Or it's usually with their first house. Or people will sign anything to get that first house. It's a crowning achievement in American society. I just bought my new house, my first house. And you got the realtors and they're telling you, listen, we could do this. I got a relationship with this person here. All you got to do is sign here, sign there. And that's what it is. What's up to my YouTube family? I'm talking to my people on the ScoonTV app. I only stream on YouTube and Rumble to make everybody aware that I'm still active. But I use my own platform because I can't be censored on ScoonTV like I can on YouTube. So if you want to ask me questions, Papa Magic, download the ScoonTV app and join the chat over here. Otherwise, just enjoy the conversation, the dialogue. I'm back, team. Okay. But it definitely seems like she's a pawn or something. I think she's going to be sacrificed. She's not smart. Nothing organic about congressional elections. It's all, yo man, it's starting to look like damn near everything is manufactured. Did you see Trump is going to create the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Fund from all the confiscated accounts from the FBI? No, I didn't see that. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's the way we're going, man. This digital currency. In order for digital currency to be utilized, we're going to need digital ID. Because that's going to be proof that you're the person. It's going to link you to the funds. And then it's going to turn around and link you to all your assets. So you won't have anything the government don't know about. Watch what I tell you. MSNBC changing to MS Now. CNN on life support. CNN will just pivot. They'll start becoming a little more balanced. You think he wants Barron to be president one day? Well, Barron got some time still. I definitely felt your perspective on being an employer through your recent tweets. Look, it's American culture, man. All chiefs and no Indians, no pun intended. Everyone feels they're too good to be an employee. They want to be a boss. They want the soft life. Nobody's going to do the work. Even when you're self-employed, right? Or you got your own business. Now you got to deal with the mindset that you had when you was an employee. It's crazy. A lot of people become self-employed and end up being their own worst employee because they've developed nothing but bad work habits. I found, me personally, as an employer, that I work even more than if I was just an employee. Because 5 o'clock comes and the employee leaves the office and they're not thinking about work until they walk in the door at 9 o'clock tomorrow. But I wake up in the morning, today, I'm up at 6:30 researching for my vlogs. By 11 o'clock, I'm shooting the vlogs. 12 o'clock, I got a meeting with Hotep Jesus concerning marketing for ScoonTv on a Zoom call. We talked for about an hour, going over different things. 1 o'clock, I eat my first meal. Then I get in the car and I drive to work. In the car, I'm on the phone discussing business. I get to the office, I'm dealing with that situation and others. 5 o'clock comes, I don't leave. I'm with my clinical director and we're discussing the office in Detroit. Because I don't want to talk to him about Detroit when he's working on DC. So I waited. I'm the boss, right? But I want him to be effective in his role. So I wait until 5 o'clock and we have a meeting for an hour. I get in the car and I'm on the phone on my way home talking about Detroit. I get home at 7:02, make something to eat, and get ready for the live stream. That's my day to day. You want to be a boss? That's what it looks like. It don't really look like a lot of fun. You got to really enjoy working. Work cannot be stressful if you want to be a boss. Otherwise, you won't be a boss of much for long. What you got to take to work like a fish to water if you want to be a boss. You do. And I don't mind the responsibility, right? I just don't like dealing with a certain caliber of individual who are entitled and feel like they're doing me a favor for taking my money. I don't feel like I own anybody because I paid them, but you know, you're getting paid to do a job, not to tell me what you're gonna do and not gonna do. Get the hell out of here. You're just in the way, you know, and that's what you got to deal with. I got an employee right now. I'm trying to figure out what to do with that individual because they take a lot of time off. And it's always on a weekend. They always want to extend the weekend. They even going to call it on a Monday. We work from home on Friday, so you would think that would be enough. No. Some people just don't want to work, man. They want to do everything. They want a podcast. They want to do everything but a job. What I found is that people, they want to do whatever it is they want to do, whenever they want to do it, and they want somebody else to pay them for it. Imagine that. How's that going to work out for you? If it does, please let me know. What we got here? What do you think is most effective when it comes to manipulating people, religion or race? Money. That's what I think. I think money, or the promise of money. You know, people are, and this is across the board. I don't want to say most people, but there's a lot of ideological whores out here. And for a couple dollars, they'll profess any religion, anything you want, if it pays. I mean, just look at government. That's what 90% of politicians are, ideological whores. Look at how they changed their views. Obama went from not being for gay marriage to putting the White House in rainbow lights. I mean, we kind of know where he really stand on it, but in the beginning, he wasn't saying it. And he's not alone. It's a lot of them like that. I recently received a lot of back pay on my upcoming check, which comes this Friday because of all the overtime. Good. Colton, what's up? Work on my gig. I found it funny some of my coworkers were complaining that their back pay wasn't that great. Yeah, because they call in all the time, man. And if they got PTO, I mean, I'm not saying they're bad people, but just know that, especially with a small company, man, 2 or 3 people take off the same day, oh, that's a crisis in a small company. But people don't think about any of that. They just, you know, maybe they got something trivial that's important to them to do. Their job isn't that important because, you know, they can always find another one. At least that's what they tell themselves. Stanford did a first of its kind study that says AI is starting to have a significant and disproportionate impact on entry-level workers in the U.S. Yeah, I believe that. Because entry level doesn't require a lot of skill, and not to disrespect anyone, it doesn't require a lot of intellect. So if AI is going to start, that's where it's going to start, but that's not where it's going to stop. Eventually, it's going to replace the highly skilled positions as well. Because it's a process, right? They're going to work it out and keep improving it. It's just like the iPhone, whatever it is, 15 is better than the iPhone 3. You learn with every new rendition. I work in finance, and I saw a job posted on LinkedIn for a company that only deals in digital currency lending opportunities. You're going to see a lot more like that. I saw where I think Barbados has digital ID and I believe digital currency. Barbados. Imagine that. Some people will give 12 hours to a job, but when they're employing themselves, they give 4 hours to, yeah, news, that's right. But let me tell you something about the 12 hours they give the job. It's only chronological, it ain't productive, all right? I just had a conversation today, man. Certain individual, I go down the stairs randomly. I've already seen him outside somebody's office, speaking to them like 4 times already. It does 4 times doesn't seem like a lot, but it's not like I go down those steps every day. And the few times I go down, how am I so lucky to catch him when he's just, killing time? It's because he do it all the time. People go to work and start watching the clock from the time they get there. In an 8-hour day, my estimation is if you get 3.5 hours of solid work out of somebody, they feel like they did a full day. The average person, not everybody. 3.5 hours of work, especially if you're pushing paper, you can get a lot of stuff done where it looks like you really did something for the day. Now, if it's construction or something, that's more obviously measurable, right? But if you're a paper pusher, you could push a lot of paper in 3.5 hours and not really break a sweat. And nobody could say you didn't do nothing. Office work, man, it's necessary, but I think office work is necessary, but I think it's more mental than anything else. And it requires focus and commitment. And people who are easily distracted, they're not made for an office setting. I don't even think that the people who perform poorly are lazy. I just think it's hard for them to stay focused for that long on something, on clerical stuff, Would you say, woo-woo, how long has my facility been in operation? I signed a lease in September 2010, and I became fully operational in April 27th, precisely 2011 was the day when I got the green light to start providing services. Yeah, so you gotta look at it like 14 to 15 years. Technically, 15 years I signed the lease, but generating revenue, 14 years. Oh, what's up, Orlando? You gotta get on the app, man. What else? When do you expect Trump to show up on Alabama? Oh, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he go through there, Peter. Congress Heights is kind of like in the cut, though, bro. Man, don't ask me how I know. Look, they always call out on the weekends. Yeah. They like to extend the weekend, for sure. And that's how you know they're full of shit. Oh, no, we're off Monday, Darnita. I just found out today that Monday was Labor Day. I'm sure all of the employees knew Monday was the Labor Day. Me, the boss, I don't know. I'm just immersed in what I'm doing. How would you deal with a woman who says we're friends but wants to talk and call you every day? How can I be nice and say I don't want to talk? Well, I'm going to tell you something, Moomin, right? I got 2 cell phones, right? And it's not like an A phone or a B phone, but both phones, in the course of a day, I don't ever put my phones on silent unless I go to sleep, because Asia's a light sleeper. So both phones ring less than 5 times a day. Today, my phone rang once, both phones. Only one phone rang today, one time. Yep, every day I got 2 phones, and maybe combined, I would get 3 calls tops. If I get 3 phone calls, I had a busy day. I'm not talking about spam likely. I'm talking about actual people that know me. If I get 3 calls, that's a lot. So I say that to say, whether it be a lady friend or anybody, people know not to call me to waste my time, right? Because as I was explaining to someone today, more so than money, what's important to me is creating purpose for myself. My answer machine on my phone, well, not answer machine, my message on my phone, my voicemail, used to say, and this was about 30 years ago in the 90s, it used to say, if you have nothing to do, find someone else to do it with. And although it's not on my phone anymore, that attitude is still with me. I despise people, not despise, but I despise when people obviously are bored and they decide to use me to pass time with. Because maybe they don't have anything important to do, but I actually do, you know? And so, yeah, I don't waste time with people, man. I'm busy. I'm busy. And I'm not just saying that. I told you all what my day was today, you know, for sure. Oh, Orlando, you made it over. Good to see you. You was on both. That's all right. I worked with a dude who was the king of stretching 2 or 3 work requests into week long 5 drills. Oh man, beating the system. You know, I heard Charleston White say something about every job that he got, he found some kind of way to go out injured and get workman's comp or something. I don't know if he was joking, if he was serious, but there are people just like that. The Cowboys doc on Netflix, and Jerry Jones mentioned he has a meeting with Hartford to get money to buy the Chargers before he bought the boys. His dad talked him out of it because of what could go wrong if he didn't make a payment. What's your thoughts on the mob's influence on professional sports? Okay. We have what's traditionally known as the mob, right? The Jewish mob, the Italian mob, the Muslim mob. There's all these different organized crime outfits. And if you take money from them and you don't make the payments, well, yeah, it could get rough for you. Sometimes you can make the payments and it get rough. But the truth of the matter is, when you enter a certain tax bracket, they're all gangsters. Whether they are officially in an organized criminal group or not. And I think a lot of people who don't come from that background, that's the part of being rich that they never took into consideration. That when you get that kind of money, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars, Oh, bruh. You're not a sprat anymore. Like somebody could get full devouring you. And you got to be on guard. When you start getting all that money, man, I mean, Biggie was right. More money, more problems. So I think specifically to what you said, I think Jerry Jones, I believe that the kind of money he has, it's not like he doesn't have dangers he needs to be aware of. It's not like he doesn't have powerful friends, powerful rivals. It's a different game. Nobody's letting me walk around with that kind of money in peace. Yeah. What's up, YouTube family? I see y'all. I'm over here on the app if you want to talk to me, though. Also, it was a good doc. I didn't have time to see it. I actually watched a movie called Blink Twice with my wife. It was directed by Zoe Kravitz. I think it's on Amazon Prime. And it was very good. It's kind of like Get Out meets Epstein Island. You got to pay attention from the beginning, though. There's all kinds of clues and stuff. So that's what I did. Like every week, I watch a movie with her. She watches one with me. Last night we watched Shogun Assassin. It was a 1980s samurai flick. Of course, I probably enjoyed it a lot more than she did, but bless her heart, she sat there and watched it with me. And that's what we do. Hey, what's up, Grab? Salute. Thoughts on the government getting into ownership stakes with Intel and possibly, I think it was Marge Torre that mentioned something like it, comparing it to like socialism or communism, where the government owns the businesses. I got to see how it affects me. A lot of these things, I believe, have been going on for the longest behind the scenes, and it's all just coming out in the open now. Oh, you saw Blink Twice news? Yeah, that joint was all right. That joint was all right, man. Yeah, but what else we got going on? Trump always got something going on. I mean, he's the turn-up king right now. Did you guys see where Alex Jones says that Trump is dying? So I did a vlog on it, like, I don't know, maybe a month ago, about his circulation. If it's legit and it's real, the fluid in his ankles could be a result of kidney problems or heart issues. I watched James Carville, and I gotta replay what he said. It sounded as if he claimed that Trump was suffering from a venereal disease. I don't know what that could be. Syphilis, maybe? I don't know. Shoot. Is Errol Spence ever getting back into the ring? I think so. I don't know how good he's gonna look. I'm kind of through with Spence, and I'll tell you why. Not because he lost, but because he knew he wasn't right. And he went in that ring to get that check because he knew that deal with Showtime was ending, and if he postponed the fight, he wasn't going to get that payday because Showtime was out the mix. So he had to take that fight no matter what. And that's why he looked the way he looked when he was going in the ring. So as a fan, I just felt like, he put the money in front of everything, and I can't trust it no more. Anytime they put the money in front of everything, I know the money's important. They're prize fighters. They're fighting for money. If he got beat legit, when I saw him get dropped by that punch in the second or third round, it's obvious to anybody that he was hurt. I mean, he had never been beaten that bad, and Crawford never looked that good. That should tell you something. Yeah, Darnita, when I saw Errol walking out with all that Vaseline on his face, I was just like, yo, he planned on getting hit a lot, huh? And then when you saw his eyes, he knew he wasn't right. It was the money, man. You think Canelo hiring Boots for sparring will help him? Nope. I don't think he needed it. I think Boots is faster than Crawford. Crawford will be 38 like 2 weeks after the fight. I think Canelo's on the downside of the hill. I think he's just bigger and stronger, and that's what's going to carry him. I think Bud is more skilled, but Bud better not make the mistake and try to fight him. And I think Bud is a natural fighter, Mumeen. I think if he gets hit, he's going to want to bang back because that's what he does. And that might be his mistake. I think he has enough skills to box, stick and move, and maybe lose a controversial decision. I hope he finishes on his feet. Every single case at the circuit court getting papered due to no cash bail. Wow. That's interesting. The U.S. government is becoming the exit liquidity and life jacket for all industries now. You know, I used to tell people, right? Me personally, I don't want to open a business unless it's somehow connected to the government. The private sector, I think, again, it's just my opinion. You can get lucky and open a donut shop or something and end up making a lot of money. But the odds are pretty much against you. Because even if you start making money, somebody's going to recognize that there's a market there for that. And then somebody else will open up something else and there'll be saturation. So you'll have a run for a couple of years until somebody opens up something that's new and improved upon what you're doing. So my thing is I always focus as a business person on anything involving government contracts because it's kind of guaranteed. And if you do something in the private sector, right? Even stores like Walmart are reliant on government policies. The tariffs, all of these things can make or break them. Business is directly impacted by government policies, man, and laws. And when you understand that, it's best just for me, because I don't have money to lose, right? It's just best to deal with the government. Opening a barber shop, all these things, they don't really appeal to me because it's not going to give me the growth that I need to make me feel secure, yeah. And then again, when you look at barbershops, that drug block I was telling you guys about earlier, there was 4 barbershops on that block. The easier something is to start, the more saturation there will be. And even with the government contracts while I'm on it, so we placed a bid with D-Win in Detroit for to work with the juveniles in the court system, right? The bid was for It was a $2 million contract. And for the people that don't know, DWIN is Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, right? And there was a $2 million bid. When I realized the bid was $2 million, I said, oh no, we wasn't going to get that. The companies that got it, of course, they were white owned. Of course, they were connected. Because even with the government contracts, you have to have some kind of political connections to get bumped to the front of the line. And while I'm on it, this is why I got involved in politics. It wasn't so much just about social issues. It was about understanding how government business works. You gotta have politicians to advocate for you. Otherwise, your application just ends up in a pile. And that's how it works, man. And a lot of us, because we're so entertainment centered, we don't even realize that that's what's going on in business at large. Everything is like, entertainment. You audition, somebody like you, the crowd claps, and you get a deal, and you get an endorsement deal, and you become a walking billboard or a pitchman or something. That's not the business that I do. Once I started understanding how the business I want to do functions, that's what drove me into politics. It was really trying to understand how to be successful in my chosen path. Trump is in on it, and if he's not, it's his, one big new private equity scam. Well, it seems like news that irrespective of political parties, it seems like wealthy people, people in power, their main objective is to fleece the sheep. And I'm not talking about Republican or Democrat. I'm talking about very wealthy people, right? The people are like sheep. They're to be led, fed, and at the appropriate time shed. And it's all to the benefit, you could call them oligarchs, technocrats, kleptocrats, whatever you want to call them. They're a small group, the 1%. And everybody else exists for their comfort and their enrichment. And they're going to find a way to get it from us. And it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter. How many years does your business have to be operating before you can get government assistance? I don't know, William. I'm not thinking about that stuff. What I want to do is I want to open up in 10 cities and sell it. That's my plan. Expand and sell and get a bag and find something else to do. By that time, all those years, I would have identified just enough good people that I could put a team together with resources this time. Because if I ever told a story of how I start businesses with little to no money, it's almost like I'm an alchemist or something. I'm turning lead to gold out this mug. How do you know how in the cut Congress Heights is? Well, I've been over there, Peter. Look. I've been over there. And, it's funny because I'm in Southeast, but on MLK, I feel it's all familiar to me. Um, I know the guys from Sight. They know me from Sight. Everybody mind their own business because you're a regular. I don't stand out, right? So I dropped somebody off on Congress Heights. And without knowing anything about Congress Heights, Peters, when I looked around, I knew where I was. I had a flashback, you know? There's a Congress Heights everywhere in America. And once you've been to one of them, you've been to all of them, man. Yeah, you definitely need that insider for the government contract. That's how I got into politics, news. Other than that, if I had not come to Washington, D.C., I would have never been exposed to government contracts and how they really work. So, and because I didn't have the means to play the game in Washington, you know, I tried my hand in Detroit, where the entry level was a lot lower. You know, you could get next to people with a lot less money. And it has a lot to do with the condition of Detroit. You know, DC is the nation's capital, and New York is the financial capital, and I don't have what it takes to play ball financially in either one of those markets, you know. So, but Detroit, yeah. Detroit, yeah. I could do it, for sure. Lutnick and Bessent, oh yeah, getting their buddies right. Promises made, promises kept. Yeah, for sure. Promises made, promises kept. Yeah, I hope you heard what I said about Bud and Canelo. I got Canelo by decision. Not that I want him to. Yeah, Peter. You know I'm gonna answer the questions. I'm gonna sure answer the questions. Yeah, and believe it or not, that was all the Congress Heights I needed to see. I've never been back over there since. William, you say you like the videos I have with News is Dead. Well, here's what's going on with the platform. I'm getting rid of latest news, international news, all that stuff. I'm keeping the town hall because that's the exclusive content. What happened with News is Dead is that I liked how the feedback. Now I need other people to produce videos that I can host. And when you see the new layout, it'll be video heavy. Yeah. You know, I want to have more videos. I'm thinking about having Faye do, you know, a weekly news recap or something, covering topics for the week. I don't know. I have to discuss it with Faye. But what we were doing, the way we were doing it, is not it. And I realized that that I based my business model on an outdated model, because due to technology and you know, all these media outlets, there's so much news all the time and so many places to get it, that the only thing that's going to make ScoonTv stand out is to focus on exclusive content that can't be found anywhere else. So rather than being a news aggregator, collecting news that's already out there and been you know, shared with the public already, I just gotta have my own exclusive content on ScoonTv. So just like you said, you know, you like the News is Dead videos, yes, thank you. And people will come back to look at those videos because it'll build its own following. And I gotta take that same formula and use it for news, for sports, for everything, and put it on the platform. And it just had the videos running, yeah. Just had the video running. The world is back on track. Birdman and NBA Youngboy have pieced it up in New Orleans. Oh, Lord. Do you think we still get a Tank versus Roach Part 2? Yeah, I do. I think it'll happen after the Jake Paul fight. I think after I don't like the Jake Paul fight, but I think after the Jake Paul fight, Tank is going to be a bigger star. Because he's going to get that exposure. When they see his highlights, you see, boxing used to be mainstream. And the changing of how TV works has affected boxing. It hasn't gotten the exposure that it once did. There was Tuesday night fights. There was Friday night fights. There was HBO. There was Showtime. There was ABC. Boxing was everywhere. People saw a lot more boxing, and now it's been replaced with streaming platforms. So Netflix doesn't charge any money. So they're going to see Tank. No matter what happens, they're going to know who he is. It's obviously going to be a exhibition match, because Tank at his biggest is probably 145 pounds. Let's say 150 when he's sloppy. And Jake Paul is 200 pounds. So it's not going to be a real fight, man. It's not going to be a real fight. The platform is growing and it could become a very important component. Yes, I agree, Justo. The good thing about ScoonTV, in my opinion, is that I don't need it to pay my bills. If I needed it to pay my bills, I would be living in a tent. But I don't. So it means it has the benefit of being able to grow organically. And a lot of people, when you go into business, you kind of like need it to replace your job right off the bat. You know what I mean? And I don't with this. So I was talking with Hotep today, and I was like, look, man, everything is pretty much free. The videos are free. The live stream is free. The app is free. The town hall is free. The people who become VIP members, they it's kind of like my Patreon. Like, they're actually funding all of the stuff that I do for free for everyone else to a degree. It doesn't cover everything, but it offsets the cost of things. So I appreciate them, and because I don't take anybody's money for granted, I try to give them something exclusive in return, which are the vlogs, you know? And that's how I try to work it, for sure. But I'm trying to grow it. The live stream, believe it or not, drives the most traffic for ScoonTV. It's not even the people that are there live with me. It's the people who watch the recorded live stream. Hundreds every week. So we're making an impact out there some kind of way. I just think that by getting the site together, reformatting it, and getting the app reformatted as well. Oh, and the good news is, speaking of Hotep at 12 o'clock today, he shared some info with me that Apple lost a court order. So now you can have purchases through the app in Apple without it going through Apple Pay as of April 30th, 2025. He sent me the article, and that was a big thing that was kind of a hindrance because my payment system is through Stripe. and Apple requires that you use their payment system, which they take 27%. And I wasn't going to stop using Stripe. It would have been problematic. So I couldn't promote the VIP membership in any way on the app for that reason. But now, when the app gets reformatted, we can have people sign up for the VIP in the app. And that's going to help me a lot, because for them to have to go to the website to sign up, people don't like extra steps. You know, they just don't. And my growth has been hindered, but I was able to sustain that hindrance for a period, and now the way has opened up. So I expect once we relaunch in the next week or so, things to take off fast. As you can see, I'm getting the site redone. I'm getting the app redone. I'm talking to people about an active marketing campaign. And of course, you know, my commitment is always there. You know? Yeah, but oh, William, let me see what you got there. Do you think Mayweather agrees with Tank taking that fight? Yeah, I do. I definitely do, because Mayweather's about the money, and that's a play right out of Mayweather's book that Tank is doing. He's going for the bread, you know. How do we find the recorded live streams? You know what? I thought it said it right. The strange thing is I don't go on the app on the live streams. I don't know, but people watch them. Maybe when we get it reformatted, I'm gonna have them make it simpler, since it seems like it's very difficult. Let me pull it up right now and see. Okay. It says right there, previous live videos. When I just pulled it up, it said previous live videos. Enjoy tonight, fam. Enjoy the rest of the week and have a safe. Oh, same to you. And yeah, I think that's it. That's my time. Thank you all. Yep, Vimeo is where the recorded live streams are. Yep. All right. Thank you, Orlando. Thank you so much. You know how to reach me, bro. All right. I'm out. Y'all have